Welcome to Unpack the NEWMAC, where we dive into the inner workings of the conference, the stories behind the stats, and the prestigious awards that make the NEWMAC a powerhouse in Division III. We'll celebrate the academic excellence of our student athletes, the incredible leadership of our coaches and administrators, and break down the path to becoming national champions. It's a lot to unpack, and we're here to do it. It's time to Unpack the NEWMAC.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unpack the NEWMAC. My name is Lindsay Colbert, and I'm joined today by Greg Walker, the head volleyball coach at Smith College. Welcome, Greg.
Thanks, Lindsay. Pretty grateful to be here.
Well, I'm very excited to talk to you. Obviously, you've had a pretty great couple of weeks, so we want to get into that a little bit. But first, I just want to start with a little bit about your background. So you joined Smith in 2020. Obviously a tough year for college athletics. We all know that. But since you've gotten to Smith, you have brought the program to the playoffs each of your years, which is awesome. And you've really found success at every level. You've now coached at D1, D2, D3. What's so special about Division III and Smith College?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that Smith College was such a great attraction because it just has such a uniqueness about it. So I know I had a mentor that had won a couple Division III championships that actually had reached out and said, "Hey, I'm not sure if you're ready to leave Division I yet, but this might be a place that you should really check out." And so I did, because at the time I wasn't sure what we wanted to do. My wife and I had lost. Unfortunately, during right before COVID, we'd lost my father-in-law. So we kind of made the decision we were going to move back towards the East Coast. And so for us, it was kind of figuring out where are we going to have the amount of support that I experienced in my professional career of programs that are really going to support championship level production. So I was pretty direct about it, and it was great. I'd reached out to the athletic director here, and Kristen Hughes, who's back-to-back athletic director of the year, definitely made a huge impact on me, inviting me to campus. The community was unreal. And just their process was so, I just felt like they really wanted to get this right. Excuse me. And so going into Division III, I actually started my career after being a student at Penn State. I started my career at Juniata College. So this was Huntington, Pennsylvania is my hometown. So having the opportunity to coach at the local college I grew up around, and that has just been a dynasty in volleyball for both men and women, was pretty remarkable. So I knew my first job, I knew what it meant to compete at the highest level in Division III and the type of student athletes that enter that division. And I don't know, I took that mentality honestly with me everywhere I went, even when I was in Division I. I put the overall student first, and I just felt like I had success because I looked at it that way. And I cared about all the things they did off the court and who they were, and looked at them more as a person. So for me, Division III gave me such an unbelievable start in terms of how I viewed my athletes at every stop. So so Division III, I've loved being back. It's been the community, even in the NEWMAC, the head coaches are just amazing. In our league, it's so cool now. I think we're a pretty tight coaching group. We see each other on the road. And it's, I don't know. It's just a different group. We're messaging each other. And I got so many well wishes from the rest of the league coaches, especially going into the championship and now going into the tournament. So it just goes to show just the camaraderie between the people and just how much support we have in this league. So
absolutely, it is an amazing group of coaches, and obviously we see that with the number of at-larges we've gotten in the past. You mentioned Smith being so special. I think obviously everyone knows Smith, and it's got such an amazing legacy, but it is unique in that it is a women's only college. Can you talk a little bit about how you go about recruiting, the quality of athletes you're able to recruit to Smith?
Yeah. I describe it as, it's probably one of the, I truly think it's one of the best colleges I've recruited to in terms of just it sells itself so many ways. The academics, the location, being part of, I mean, a historic like 5 college consortium with, so student athletes can come here and it's just not necessarily only Smith alone standing. Like if they want to have another experience for a semester and take some classes over at like UMass or Amherst and, or Holyoke and Hampshire College, like they can do it. And I just think it offers a lot. And especially different from what I experienced especially as a student at Penn State. I think just Smith offers such a unique, even community. I think for being a high academic college, you hear about all the time in the Ivy and some of the higher academic institutions about how competitive it is, like student to student, and also the culture that creates, in the classroom when it's like peers against peers versus supporting each other in their experience. And the one thing that makes Smith is really unique is that like you can be in the same class in the same path of studies and you're not fighting each other for like a type of ranking, internship, like job after, like it truly is a support system, which from what I understand from my peers at a high academic school like Smith, I think that's probably the biggest difference about like how we do things compared to some other schools, especially just the academic support that we can provide our students being at a top academic school on top of like having this like elite level athletic experience now. So yeah, so it's really special. But that's probably the most uniqueness about it is that you can have truly the best of both worlds, and you can be unbelievably successful at that, but have, an unbelievable support system to cover it all. So.
Yeah, like you said, the success that Smith has seen athletically has been amazing. The women's basketball team, now we add the women's volleyball team to the mix. And, like you said, the program has just seen such success and such growth. And, I mentioned that you had made a trip to the playoffs in each of your years as head coach here. But, this season really seemed to start off really special. You started up the best start you've had since I think 2005. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but did the start of the season, did it feel special or did it feel like business as usual?
It definitely felt special, and a part of it is like this was my first. It's the end of my first actual like full recruiting class here at Smith, and so I knew that like those athletes that came in their first year. It's like any of the seniors right now, right? It's crazy. They committed to an institution blindly. The majority, if not all, like didn't come to campus before their decision. When I was recruiting them, we were recruiting to a program that, had a lot of difficulty in like the results. So, and I think that the biggest part was like, seeing, when I recruited them here, I said, we're gonna make postseason. We're gonna win the NEWMAC. We're gonna have a ring season and we're gonna keep playing on. So, my biggest thing is like, I was just asking families and these student athletes just trust the process, which was hard because, right, first year we made postseason in the NEWMAC, and second year made the semifinal. And it's just kind of like, we were always like knocking on the door. But it was cool because even my peers as coaches in the league were just like, we feel like you're right there. And this was coming from coaches that have won the league over and over and been in the NCAA tournament. And it's just, so it was really good support hearing from them that they could see the potential, like where our team was, before we were even there. So yeah, it was special definitely from the start. I think that a big contributing factor is like having people that had been through Smith for 4 years and has also learned from where we fell short in the last couple of years. And I definitely, in my 4 years, learned I learned really a lot how to trust the leadership that I had in place, and that we kept the same captains for like basically the last 3 years, and I trust them so much, and so it's really cool to see how much they were able to identify like within the team in the peer leading, how much more that they would be intentional about how they did it, and so truly like that's probably been the biggest thing, is that seeing that leadership over, their 4-year career here, and then getting to where we could be, is actually, it's been incredible. It couldn't be any better of a story. So
it's been a great story. So you you had some great moments in the regular season. You went out and beat Middlebury for the first time in like 28 years. You beat some ranked opponents, but really, obviously, it all leads up to the postseason. That's where new season. You're the number 3 seed. We have MIT and Springfield, both regional kind of powerhouses in the last couple of years. But you get a home match, and you guys are like 17-2 at home. So were you confident, that give you a lot of confidence knowing that you got to start the playoffs at home?
Yeah, this year's been great because I'd said to the team like multiple times in the years, like we've seen how basketball, like Lynn Hersey now's been at Smith for 17, 18 seasons, and we've seen them now on this climb to a national final. And even when I started here, it wasn't necessarily packed stands. It was, we had really good attendance, but it wasn't until the last couple of years that everything got pushed over that edge where it's just standing room only. And so having the home playoff opportunity was amazing to see these, basically to see our student athletes, their peers, get really excited behind the joy of what they could see their peers do, and just the happiness that, this group of student athletes brings. Having a home, a playoff game was unreal. Every year, right, since I've been here, we've been on the road, and but the Smith community embraced it. It's just been crazy. Like, we've had more messages and more alumni come out across not just volleyball, but just of Smith. It's been really cool. This team, I'm really proud of like how much joy they play with and how much people enjoy watching them compete. And and then being able to take that home advantage on the road to MIT was unreal. So unreal.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was lucky enough to be in attendance for both the semifinal and finals, and it really felt like a Smith home match. It really did. Against Springfield, but also against MIT, who really was home. So, you go up against Springfield, who obviously has beat you in the regular season, got that number 2 seed from that tiebreaker. But again, it felt like it was home for you. How did that traveling contingency help you out in that match?
Oh my gosh. It was funny because after we went at home in the quarterfinal, our SAC leadership had actually reached out and was, petitioning basically to get a fan bus. They were like, we're taking this on the road. So I cannot thank that group so much for just their passion and their commitment to this group and helping us. Because I'll tell you what, the Springfield, we knew it was going to be a battle. Coach Long does such a great job there, just building a team that just believes they can beat everybody. And it's so, we know, like we had to really show up. And they had the sweep, they had the vibe going. They had match point in the third set. And I just think about kind of the lead up in this season on how many opportunities teams have had to basically take us out early and win games, and how many moments of adversity they've faced in those matches. And I tell the team, you just have to win. You gotta win 3 sets. So you got 5 to do it. So it was just amazing. Our SAC and our alumni chapter in Boston and them just being committed to coming out was just remarkable. And I think the big thing too that stuck out to me in the semifinal game is that, that, and I told our team after, is that when they look around and you see all those people and their peers, especially their peers, their peers flooded the stands. And I just think when they're willing to take the time and to truly support by physically showing up, being in that space and making it a home court environment like that, that's above and beyond. And I even saw, it was big for our staff because I saw their head coaches and other grad students and people that have been grad assistants at Smith that, are not anymore. They're out coaching other schools, and they were there. And I just think it says a lot about how much joy that they bring. I told our team, it's when people, they get really excited for you and they want to root for it, especially when they're experiencing all that joy. And it's fun to watch, and it feels good. So I can't thank the SAC group and everything for organizing and coming on a fan bus.
Yeah, absolutely. And even alumni, like you said, I was sitting in that kind of fan section and just kind of surrounded by parents. And I think, one parent said to another person, like, oh, like, who's your kid out there? And they're like, no, we're alumni, just coming out to support. So, I mean, clearly you have a great support system. So you pull off that reverse sweep. Now you got to face MIT, who really this season felt like pretty unbeatable. No one had beat them. I think they were maybe 31-0 at that championship match. You had just played them like 7 or 8 days prior. They had swept you. What's the pep talk? What are you saying to your team before that match?
Yeah. So it's funny. We talked about it probably a couple days before, the day before, and then the day of in the morning. I met with positional groups. We, at the hotel, we did our, altered our scout just a little bit to do some more positional specific stuff, of what we knew we failed at before and what we needed to be sharper at. And the first time we played MIT, they really exposed some things that we knew that we needed to get better at. So we've been just working at it. And so that morning when we met as a team, I just told them that I've been unbelievably blessed to have been a part of some of the major upsets in college volleyball through my career at different schools. And one of the most recent I thought of was when I was on the men's staff at USC. We upset the defending national champions who were undefeated on a streak, and we swept them at home. And I just thought, I told them, I said that, when I was there or when I was at another school, they upset one of the powerhouses in the country, home and away. And I told them that the common denominator between those two teams was it was a group of student athletes that were just always tired of being told what their potential was, or, oh man, you got a good team. And they're just tired of it. And I knew that meant a lot to our group, just because I've had conversations over the years with our student athletes about just they're always told that, but they want to show it. They want to be like, this is, and they've stuck to the process over years. Our senior class, bring home this NEWMAC championship was just, it really topped off. And that truly was when they came here, that is what they came here to do, and to be in this position. And so that was something we talked about. And I just told them that, it's going to be hard. This isn't going to be, you're going to go in there and it's going to be easy, but it's about, can we stay in our pocket and not let distractions get to us? And they did. It was amazing. They started off the gates, accepting and really buying into the pressure as privilege. It was unreal. So, and then when they gave themselves that advantage going up, that was a really good place to be going into a fifth set.
Whatever you said worked, because it really felt like you were in control, really. As a fan watching, you kind of waiting. You're waiting for MIT to make that run, and you're like, well, it's coming. But they had a few spots, but really you guys stayed in control. And even in that fifth set, it felt like you had it at hand. It really felt like you had stayed in control. How did you guys handle that pressure? That's a tough team to play, a tough team to beat. How did you stay in that moment and face the adversity of MIT coming back and saying, no, we're in control?
Yep. Well, it was actually kind of funny because we watched the playback the other night with a couple of our staff, and we had some critical subs that we made at certain times of people that were able to step up and help help us through a couple of point gap. We even had one of our middles actually get on the floor and serve for us and get on a massive run. And she historically has not been a sub server for us. And there's just some things that we knew going into the weekend that were here's some wild card variables that could really help us. And, but it was actually amazing. I joke with our setters that, especially the execution factor. Every coach will tell you, oh, if we execute the game plan, but, I just thought that we talk all the time about, pressure is real, so that's not going to go away, but it's how we accept it. And we've been saying that all year, especially this season. And I thought they did an unbelievable job just not getting distracted by putting extra internal pressure on an already hot situation. And it was just amazing how confident they were. And I knew our coaching staff had to be really mindful of, there's pressure and they're feeling it, so we don't need to put more on. I think we were up in we were up in near the last sets, and I called a timeout because they closed a little bit of a gap, and I think we had like 1 point left, and I was just like, I was like, hey, I was like, I just so I had to take a little heat off it. I was like, hey, I'm just calling a timeout to tell you you're doing a great job. Yeah, so and I mean, truly is like they knew there's pressure, and especially when you see MIT start crawling back, because they can, and we've seen it all year. So it's so a part of it is just us taking care of our side of the net. So and reminding them that. I think that's the other thing too, right? But it was cool. I mean, that was a game where they, I mean, I'll tell you what, after that sweep at home, that I know that stung because we were playing for, a tie in the regular season and on home court, which, was great. But I know this team really wanted a great comeback story, especially taking out Springfield on a semifinal and then MIT on home court. So I'm glad they got it.
2 pretty great wins. So you pulled it out. How'd it feel?
We did. It felt great. I mean, I think, yeah, it's hard to put into words. I just, I kept telling everybody that, like I've been a part of some really great programs, and how much joy they inspired in others was like off the charts. I mean, even some of my old schools, I mean, I had the 2012 Division I National Player of the Year reach out, and, with congratulations to the team. And I had, a lot of my peers and stuff, administrators from the Power 5 schools reaching out because they were watching. And I just told them that this isn't just only a Smith community thing. This isn't just a Division III. Like, this is national, and people are watching and they're excited for this group. And I just told them that it's amazing how, especially right now, like people can look to this team and they can look to what the body of work the athletes have put together, and they can, at least for a short time, experience some joy. And I think that's the best thing about sports, right? We have that. I just told them that is the unmeasurable impact that a group that just stayed on the process for 4 years, going into a program that hadn't had the success in so long and making it happen. I mean, that's really special, and it doesn't happen. Our grad student setter is actually from Oberlin College, and it was just her perspective this season was amazing for her peers because they finished middle of the league. She was Conference Player of the Year, and and her team played exceptional, especially in her last season. And I think her perspective too to our team of winning. We say it all the time, but I think for them to hear it from a peer was like incredibly powerful. Like, I mean, winning's not common, and sometimes we've made postseason, we've done those things, but like what it means to do it at the next level is like that's it was hard to get to where we are, but now we're here. So like, what do we got to do and it becomes harder and harder and harder. So I was just so happy for this group to experience that joy. I told them before we left the huddle, I said, look around you, the people that are here. I was like, you'll never forget this, like this moment right now, and the people you're with for the rest of your life. And that's a pretty cool moment that they're all going to have on their memory and be able to connect with. So.
Absolutely. I've been working in college athletics now for, over a decade, and been at more championships than I can count. And I don't know if I've seen more tears, not from your team, but just from Smith staff, administration. Everybody was just so overjoyed. So that was an amazing thing. But, you get that great win, and now you're sitting in a hotel room in Baltimore, and you've got your first NCAA berth since, I think, 2005. How you feeling?
Feeling good. I think we had a great practice earlier. I think it's really, to our advantage. We we lift at 6 in, we practice 7. So we're used to the morning to be able to lock in and do what we need to do in the morning and be pretty focused. So, so we're pretty, everyone's pretty excited about it. I know the energy's high. I was really impressed with just the energy focus, just going into practice and staying locked in, just because I know, like, I'd say the going at our own pace sometimes, like you don't have that when you're on the road here in the NCAA tournament. And I given them that advice of just, we have to be good with ebbs and flows. Things are going to come up, things can change, and but the schedule's pretty regimented when you hit the gym. So they did a great job, and our staff's been just grinding at the scouting stuff. So I told them, staff will take care of the details. You just do the rest recovery and keep focused on on what we give you for each team. So it's been pretty good.
Awesome. Well, you play tomorrow morning. I know you got a a job to do and you got to get out there and prepare. So I really want to thank you for, spending a few minutes with me and chatting about such an amazing win. We're all happy for you and we're excited. We have 3 teams from the NEWMAC playing tomorrow. Yes. So amazing year for the conference and we want to wish you good luck and we'll be rooting for you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share a little bit here about Smith volleyball. So thank you.
Thanks. Good luck.